What's going on, everyone? It's time for a horror comedy film review, something a little different than usual. Today, we're going to talk about a film called My Best Friend is a Vampire. It was released, um, it was released by Kings Road Entertainment, October 1st, 1987, and it stars Robert Sean Leonard, and it was written by Tab Murphy, produced by Dennis Murphy, and directed by Jimmy Houston, who also did a few other films like Final. He's more well known for like Final Exam and The Wharf Rat, but he also did films like Buckstone Country Prison and Death Driver. It's at a box office earnings of a whopping just over $174,000. It was a colossal flop when it came out, and yeah. But what's the film about? Well, it's kind of obvious from the title. Someone turns into a vampire. This is a vampire film, but done with more comedic tones and everything like that. And in it's sort of like The Lost Boys. Came out around the same time as The Lost Boys and Fright Night and all that. So there's a lot of vampire movies coming out in like the mid to late 80s. And yeah, I think this one came out actually a couple months after The Lost Boys, if I remember correctly. If I actually looked that up correctly and stuff. But yeah, so My Best Friend is a Vampire. Well, there's two best friends, obviously, and yeah, one of them's the one every girl wants, but he's in love with the nerdy girl, and he doesn't really actually know how to talk to girls, so he's there, and then his jock buddy is always encouraging him to do it. Typical high school stuff in a high school comedy. And yeah, so this opens up with this really weird dream he had, and then apparently he's been having it quite often. But then as they're driving around, he has a delivery job, so he goes to deliver some like groceries to this old abandoned house, or at least what they thought was abandoned, and it's actually run by this attractive young woman who ends up being a vampire, hooking up with them, and yeah, ends up biting them, and he ends up changing into a vampire. But amidst this, there's your villains of the story are introduced, and it's this one sort of like Van Helsing type doctor guy, and a really goofy, quirky sidekick guy that's helping him out. And so at first they think the jock buddy is turned in is the one who's been bitten, so they start stalking him. And meanwhile, the other guy, the main guy who actually got bit by a vampire, is trying to go about his life, but his parents slowly notice different changes in him and stuff. And yeah, and then as the story goes on, he meets another vampire that shows him the ropes and gives him a guide and basically how to do it. So he learns he can manipulate people's minds and decisions, so he tries to use it on the girl he likes, trying to make him like her, and he just makes her more creeped out by him. And yeah, things just never go the way it's supposed to in this film. And then one of the funniest scenes is actually when one of the best scenes in the movie is when he shows his best friend that he's a vampire. So first he goes and he shows that he can't be seen in the mirror, and then the best friend's like, "Oh, so it's just a magic trick, whatever." And then he pulls out a pint of blood, drinks it in front of him, and then offers his friend a sip. And that's what makes him realize that it's a vampire, and he's in shock and leaves. But then, yeah, there's this one Van Helsing type dude and his quirky sidekick. They start following them, and the kids slowly catch on. But lo and behold, they kidnap the jock, and then they realize it's not him, it's actually the other kid. But yeah, the whole way it goes, like there's so many amusing scenes in this. It's not like a drop dead on the floor laughing real hard. It's a good chuckle, good feel good movie with like a little bit of horror elements mixed into it. Overall, most of the characters were pretty generic, and the story alone is generic, but it does its purpose, and the characters are okay. The acting is actually not that bad in this movie too, and yeah, at least it was nicely shot for what it was. And they have some really cool car chases and stuff in it, so it's not like a whole drag or anything. I think this film is actually all right. It's a good popcorn flick. Nothing too special. I didn't really bring anything new to the table with this one. It was more just like have fun with a simple story and um, a simple story, simple setting, and just keeping it simple because a lot of the it came out, like I said in the beginning, like when a lot of vampire movies are coming out. So instead of having all these serious vampires, they try to be a little quirky, but clearly it wasn't the right time for it. I actually couldn't find this anywhere on any streaming site or anything. I actually have this on an old DVD I have, but I couldn't find it even on Tubi or anything like that. So have fun trying to find it if you want to check it out. But overall, I think it's an amusing movie, good popcorn flick, but doesn't really add anything or bring anything new. It's just some good quality enjoyment with a good mix of laughs and amusement throughout. So I'm gonna give My Best Friend is a Vampire a 2.5 out of 5. Feel this sounds like something you're interested in, I'll try to find either the trailer I watched a while ago, or I'll put a clip or two or something down below so you could get at least get the gist of the film down below. And also make sure you check out my Instagram. It's linked down below. Where I post clips of films and review in the future. All my stories usually have the film title and hashtag and subgenre film and a hashtag, so you're aware of it. And also my Letterbox is down below, JP Reviews. It's where I post my first star rating right after watching the films. So follow me on one of those two platforms down below if you want to stay in the loop of the channel. Like this video, share it so more people are aware of it. Comment your opinions of the film down below if you have any. And also if you have any films or film franchises in any genre that you want to hear my opinions on in the future, comment those down below too. I'll try my best to get to them as soon as I can and if I can find them. And yeah, but make sure you subscribe because hopefully we'll find something weird, obscure, and odd that you probably never thought of checking out together, somewhat like this. And also so you know my opinions on popular films, classic films, and reviews on other things as well. And don't forget to ring that bell because I'm going to stay in the horror comedy section because I'm going to review a spoof movie that I didn't even know existed, but it's called Repossessed, and it basically has Linda Blair being possessed by the devil, but Liam Neeson as the priest, so should be interesting. So make sure you tune in for that review next. That's going to be the next one coming up probably. And yeah, but watch out for all those quirky vampires and dumb scientists trying to capture them, and I guess I'll see you all in the next review. So until then, cheers.